So for more on what we can expect from Sunday's vote in Japan, let's speak now with Phillip Lipscy. He's Chair, Japanese Politics and Global Affairs at Munk School of Global Affairs and Public Policy at the University of Toronto. Professor Lipscy, good to have you on the show. A 60 to 70% approval rating, for Sanae Takaichi ahead of polling there. Now, does this actually translate into a slam dunk for her and the LDP, you think?
At this point, it does look like she's headed for a significant victory. There was some uncertainty when the election was called with the formation of a new combined opposition party in the Centrist Reform Alliance. But the public opinion polling at this point suggests that not only will they capture majority, but a sizable majority. And so at this point, given particularly the short campaign period that you mentioned, I think it's safe to assume that they are headed towards a victory.
Okay, so with that in mind, Professor, what would actually count as a win for her on Sunday, and what kind of result would fall short of the mandate that she's seeking for?
Definitely achieving a majority in coalition with Ishin, their partner, would be a critical objective. Given that the expectations are drifting higher now, something that falls short of an LDP majority may very well be seen as a disappointment for her at this stage. But she has openly stated that a majority is the key objective here, and given that they lacked that majority status in the lower house going into the election, if they achieve that, I think they would consider it a victory.
Okay, we just reported the winter storm forecast for this weekend. I mean, historically, who benefits when turnout drops in Japan? And could weather-driven low turnout be, significant enough to raise questions about how representative this result really is?
Yeah, that'll be a very interesting one to watch. Traditionally, low turnout benefited the LDP because they have a very solid and reliable voting bloc behind them. But part of what happened recently is they lost the Komeito party, their longstanding coalition partner, that also has the ability to deliver votes consistently and reliably. And so to some extent, that might change the calculus somewhat. It could be that low turnout actually hurts Takaichi, given that she's trying to cruise to victory on high public popularity. But the LDP does have a very solid support base. So my assessment is probably this is going to end up being more or less of a wash. And that's not consistent with the historical pattern. But that would be my guess here.
Prof. Lipscy, if Ms. Takaichi gets the mandate she's seeking, meaning, as you talked about earlier, majority for the LDP or a super majority combined with its partner, how do you see it changing Japan? I mean, in areas, which are fundamental to the country right now, we're talking about sovereignty, we're talking about security, leadership style, immigration and economic policy, or are all of them going to change?
Absolutely. A big challenge for the LDP going into this election was the rise of a populist party, Sanseto, that had captured a significant share of the vote in the previous upper house election last summer. And so for Takaichi, a critical objective here is to try to grab back those right-leaning voters and bring them back into their traditional fold in the LDP. And it looks like that so far she has achieved some degree of success there. But that also means from a policy standpoint that the LDP has, to a large extent, embraced an agenda that suggests that immigration has been, Japan has been too welcoming for immigration, and that more restrictions need to be placed on immigration, tourism, and so forth. On the foreign policy front, of course, one of the major news items coming out early from her government was her statement about a Taiwan crisis perhaps implicating Japan's security interests. And it looks like that is actually helping her in terms of the domestic front. China, of course, retaliated with various measures, but it may very well have benefited her and increased her popularity among her right-leaning support base. And so it could very well be that this gives her a somewhat more free hand to pursue a foreign policy that is not confrontational. Japan has no interest in confrontation with China, but certainly one that stands up to China in coordination with the United States.
Okay, speaking of the U.S., Professor Ms. Takaichi has received President Trump's endorsement. Would it help her or risk complicating her appeal at home?
I think she does have a reputation as having a good personal relationship with President Trump. She is the protege of former Prime Minister Shinzo Abe, who was probably the best foreign relationship that Trump had during his first tenure in office. And when Trump visited Japan and met with Takaichi, it appeared that they had a very strong personal chemistry. And I think within Japan, this is seen as an asset that she's able to manage that relationship and keep Trump on side in a way that other countries have found somewhat challenging during this second Trump administration. So I think, if anything, it will benefit her, although the endorsement by Trump, I doubt will have a direct impact on the election outcome.
Okay, understood. Professor Lipscy, thank you very much for your time. Phillip Lipscy, Chair of Japanese Politics and Global Affairs at University of Toronto.